The mess hall was loud, trays clattering, boots stomping, conversations overlapping like static. But then, everything froze. A young Marine, full of ego and impatience, shoved a woman out of his way, hard enough that she hit the edge of a metal table. Laughter broke out. Someone whispered, "She's new, looks scared." But then the room changed, like the air itself remembered to stand at attention. A deep silence. A shift of boots. A captain stepped in, his voice trembling. Stand at attention. The lieutenant colonel is in the room. Every face turned white. Because the woman the Marine had just shoved. The quiet one with tired eyes and a scar hidden beneath her collar. Was Lieutenant Colonel Aria Hayes, one of the most decorated officers in the entire division, recently returned from Black Ops deployment. And she had heard every word, every laugh. And she knew exactly who had shoved her. She also knew. This wasn't just about disrespect. This was about a culture she had come back to fix. Aria Hayes hadn't planned on coming back early. Her unit's last mission had taken a toll, physically and emotionally. She needed time to recover, but retirement wasn't in her blood. She chose something quieter, something less demanding. A temporary assignment at Camp Redwood. Training oversight. Light duty. Paperwork. Just enough time to rebuild herself. But when she arrived, the atmosphere felt off. There was noise, chaos, lack of discipline. And something darker, an arrogance she remembered only in weak units. Young Marines swaggered, ranking Marines barely corrected them, and respect was selective. Walking into the mess hall that morning, she felt the tension instantly. Conversations stopped when she passed. Not out of respect, but because she looked too quiet to be someone important. Aria didn't correct them. She didn't flash her rank, her name tag covered by a jacket, rank insignia muted from travel gear. She wanted to observe, not command. But the arrogance hit fast. A cocky corporal, Rodriguez, complained loudly about soft leadership. Another joked about how he could run this place better than half the officers. Then came the shove. Her tray fell. The hall laughed. And the memory of her fallen soldiers. The ones who died protecting each other with absolute respect. Hit her like a punch. This wasn't a unit. It was a time bomb. The moment the captain yelled, "Lieutenant Colonel," every Marine snapped into rigid posture. The one who had shoved her, Corporal Riley, looked like his soul left his body. Aria slowly straightened, brushing dust from her sleeve. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Her calm was terrifying. She stepped toward Riley. He swallowed, eyes wide. "Marine," she said softly, "what's the first rule you learned in boot?" Riley stuttered. "Our respect, ma'am." She nodded. "Respect for what?" For rank. For fellow Marines." "Good. Because you just disrespected both." Everyone held their breath. Aria could have ended his career right there. But she saw something behind his fear, a kind of misplaced anger, a lack of guidance, maybe a story no one cared about. So instead of punishment, she said, "You will report to me at 0400 tomorrow. Pack for field training." Shock rippled through the room. Field training? For a shove? But she wasn't done. "And I expect the same from everyone who laughed." Silence. "That includes you, Captain." The captain's jaw dropped. Aria walked away, leaving a hall full of trembling Marines. Not sure whether to fear her or follow her. Fog covered the training field. 26 Marines stood shivering, exhausted, confused. Aria walked toward them carrying nothing but a small pack. "Today," she announced, "you will relearn what it means to be Marines." They expected yelling. But she spoke softly, like someone teaching children to walk again. They ran drills, not extreme, but disciplined. They rebuilt communication patterns. She taught them silent coordination, mutual accountability, trust under pressure. Riley struggled the most. He whispered harshly, "Why is she pushing us so hard? I didn't know who she was." She heard him. "Rank doesn't buy respect," she said. "Behavior does." Then she surprised them all. She told her story. She spoke about losing her best friend in Afghanistan because of one selfish choice from a Marine who didn't feel like listening. She spoke of sacrifice, fear, courage, and the quiet burden leadership carries home. Her voice cracked once, but she didn't hide it. Riley felt something shift in him for the first time. He saw her not as an officer, but as someone who carried ghosts heavier than any rank. And for the first time, he listened. By the fourth day of training, everything came crashing down. Riley froze during a team navigation drill. His hands shook. He couldn't speak. Arya recognized that look: panic, trauma, buried failure. She dismissed the others and approached him slowly. "Talk to me, Marine." He resisted at first, but then it spilled out. His brother died in a training accident the year before. No one guided him through grief. No one cared. He turned anger into armor. And the mess hall shove? His way of proving he wasn't weak. Arya listened without judgment. Then she said words he never expected. "You're not weak. You're carrying too much alone." For the first time in years, Riley cried, silent, shaking. She stayed with him until he steadied. It changed him. It changed all of the Marines who once laughed, who once disrespected, now woke before their alarms. They stood taller, listened harder, helped each other instead of mocking. Arya pushed them, but she also encouraged them. And word spread across the base. Lieutenant Colonel Hayes is rebuilding the heart of the unit. Even officers dropped by to observe her sessions. By the end of the week, the same Marines who once ignored her now walked with quiet pride. And Riley became her strongest supporter, disciplined, humble, and fiercely protective of the new culture forming around them. The mess hall felt different too, organized, respectful, almost peaceful. But Arya knew there was one final thing left to do. A full base formation gathered. Officers, enlisted, recruits, everyone. Arya stepped forward, the sun behind her, casting a long shadow over the field. Riley stood in the front row, shoulders square. She addressed the entire base. Respect is not given because of rank. It's earned through how you treat the people around you. Especially when you think no one is watching. Her voice carried across the wind. When you shove someone weaker, you reveal your own weakness. When you lift someone up, you show who you truly are. She paused. And leadership is not power. It is responsibility. She saluted them. To everyone's shock, Riley stepped forward and saluted back first. The entire formation followed. A wave of unity washed over the base. The culture had changed. And she had kept her promise to herself. To honor the fallen by protecting the living. Fade out. This is not a story about rank. It's about respect, healing, accountability. And the strength to rebuild what others break.